show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Face in your face. Face in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching the channel for the first time, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have a much smaller channel called Latina Diaspora, where I talk about issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to the channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the channel, you need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined. I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to on. So therefore, whenever I do create content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. And this is Friday night, we're going to have another episode. I hope you can hear me because my Wi-Fi is starting to go in and out. So I'm open discussion. What I will do is I will share my views regarding several topics. Of course, the audience, that is people in the chat, will have an opportunity to opine regarding anything that I have to discuss. Also, you may have certain things that you want me to discuss. Put it in the chat, and I will do my best to comply. However, for the sake of transparency, if there's something I don't know about, I'll be transparent and admit it. So, and before I continue, let me also say that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone at any time wishes to hit that link and enter the panel and opine regarding anything that we are discussing, they are more than free to do so. Again, I have to state this. If this is the first time that I've seen you or heard from you, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash us anything inappropriate, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. And let me make this perfectly clear. The ones that have been permanently banned, if I see you in the backstage, you will be removed. And if you try to re-enter, you'll be removed permanently. Okay. So the first thing topic I wish to talk, the natives are restless. Now, what am I referring to? I am referring to those individuals who love to try to enter the chat or enter the panel of various content creators. I am referring to the trolls. Now, I understand that not all trolls are the same. There are trolls that are humorous and relatively harmless. And then there are those who try to disrupt, try to cause division, try to infuriate the host, and try to take over the stream. Okay, we have seen this happening on various platforms. We also see recently the trolls tried to invade this platform. But you know what happened? Access was denied. And then those who try to enter the backstage again, they were not only removed, but they was banned. Unfortunately, trolls is something we all have to deal with from time to time. And I guess in a way, look at it as a badge of honor. Because if you have certain individuals that have too much time on their hands and they try to and they troll you and things of that nature, it means that you have achieved a certain amount of success and that you are living rent free in their sick, pathetic minds. Okay. And of course, these are individuals that are unable to maintain a mature conversation. These are individuals that have issues. Okay. And may not be necessarily issues with the host. It may be issues with certain individuals on your panel or on your channel. But one thing I know is it seems like the female content creators, at least some of them, have to deal with the trolls with greater frequency. And there are many reasons for it, mainly the fact that the trolls are trying to seek attention. Okay. Also, let's keep it real. There are certain trolls that want access to some of the female content creators, mainly their boxes. Okay. Which I'm referring to their sexual organs. Okay. Because unfortunately, there are certain individuals that have a low opinion regarding the members of the opposite sex. There are certain individuals, which I call them incels, think of women as human recreation centers there to provide their own sexual gratification. Of course, those of note that women are more than that. But unfortunately, you have certain individuals who do not understand that concept. And one problem with these individuals is that they have too much time on their hands. I mean, realistically speaking, well, most of us work every day, or we go to school, or we are involved in things that recently intelligent adults would do. These individuals spend their time harassing content creators. These individuals spend their time trying to create habit. There are people who on the vicious side will try to dox and try to irritate content creators. Of course, we know for a fact that particularly the female content creators have had dealt with these trolls for a long time. Um, Female content creators like Miss Elite, Femi, Gigi, um, Dreaming of Reality, okay. Uh, my cyber daughter, Denise Gonzalez, Spending, and other female content creators have dealt with trolls, have dealt with people who occupy their time uh, trying to create attention. Unfortunately, some of these content creators, okay, some of these trolls has resorted to doxing, that is publicizing conflict information, and some of them, unfortunately, have filed false reports with the authorities and with children's services. And what's really sad and cruel regarding is not only do they have these content creators go through all the grief, but the fact that you have the authorities devoting their time and energies regarding false claims of abuse or neglect. And what happens is when it comes to legit concerns of abuse, they don't always get attended to right away because you have people who have filed false claims. Now, the next thing, okay, now this morning I received an email from Miss Elite. And guess what? It seems like our three-time loser decided to create a video about yours truly on Rumble. And basically saying his same old tired, speech about, oh, he's going to call ICE on me and have me deployed. Well, guess what? I'm still here. ICE have not knocked on my door. So, I mean, it's sad when you have mills that actually waste their time repeating the same rhetoric over and over and over again. Now, this is coming from a person that's engaged to be married. Well, look, I don't know if he's engaged or not. That is not my concern. But I will say this. If you were truly engaged, you will be spending time with your fiance. You'll be spending time preparing for the wedding. You will be concerned about how to pay for it, okay? Which means you will be working. You will not be spending your time on anyone, okay? And much less, you wouldn't be trying to harass female content creators and trying to gain access to the box and then getting upset because certain female content creators deny you access. Okay. contrary to what people, what people might have told these individuals is that women are not here just to provide us with own sexual gratification. All right. But the old saying, hurt people hurt people. That's the reality. And I know that when I get into next week topics, um, particularly Monday and Tuesday, there's going to be individuals that's going to be triggered. Well, you know what? So be it. I decide what content gets aired. I decide what I'm going to talk about. And guess what? I also decide who gains the blessing and the privilege to enter into my cyber home. Okay. And again, if you are not able to abide by the rules and guidelines that I set, you're free to leave. Just don't let the door hit you with the good Lord split you. Okay. But now next week's schedule. Okay. It's going to be a relatively, okay, maybe rephrase it. I'll do streams on my main channel Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Thursday, I'll probably do a stream on my other channel. Now, what the topic I'm going to be discussing on Monday night is obsession. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define what it is. And I'm also going to describe the behaviors of those that are afflicted with obsession. This is going to be the first one of two lives that I'm going to talk about. And of course, it's going to be a bothersome to the haters. I say, well, too bad. I determine what gets discussed, not you. And on Tuesday, I will be talking about deliverance, a Christian concept. Now, that's something that not everyone understands. So I'm going to try to do my best to clarify what it is and what it isn't. Thursday, I will do another stream regarding something pertaining to Latinos on Thursday. And next Friday, we'll need another episode of open discussion. Now, one thing, I wasn't planning to discuss this, but I think I'll discuss it now. Next week, actually May the 21st, will be the anniversary of something that's very important in my personal life. Actually, what it is that it will be the anniversary where I became a born again Christian. So, in essence, it's my spiritual birthday. Okay. So basically, on May 21st, 1988, I became a born again Christian. So that means it will make it 37 years that I give my life to the Lord completely. Okay, so of course I'll probably mention something about that. Has it been easy? No. Of course, when you decide to center your life on the teachings of Jesus, I mean, there's always going to be some misunderstanding. There's also going to be people that are going to judge you. There's always going to be people that know the old you and have a problem with the concept that you become a different person, that you become a person focusing on what God deemed appropriate. And of course, we are living at a time where good is considered bad and bad is considered good. However, despite that, there are certain truths that remain evident. First of all, there is cause and effect. There is cause and effect in everything that you do, and there's consequences. If you make positive choices in your life, the consequences will be positive. If you make negative choices in your life, the consequences will be negative. Okay. And again, is what I call cause and effect. Okay. So, of course, I'll be discussing that briefly, probably on Tuesday. Okay. Now, the next thing that I'm going to be talking about is what I call free press. Now, one thing, and this is something that my haters and my detractors they don't grasp, is that when you spend time and energies saying saying false narratives about me, when when you are obsessed regarding who I am and why I do what I do and say what I say, and you constantly call me everything but a child of God. What you're doing is you give me free press. What you're doing is that you are creating an environment when people who don't know about me, when they hear all the rhetoric said against me, what they're going to do is that they're going to check out my content and they're going to see for themselves what type of individual that I am. And one thing they're going to observe is that, first of all, my content is positive. I don't attack anybody. I don't waste my time answering tit for tat. I just share what type is on my mind, and then you decide. And what's going to happen is they're going to compare what they see with what they heard about me, and then they're going. Most intelligent people are going to arrive at the conclusion that what they say about me is false. And those who actually believe in the rhetoric about me, well, you know what? What can I say? And again, let me make this perfectly clear. I cannot control what people say. I control how they're going to respond. That is the reality. Okay. Just give me a moment. And I'm not going to engage in a debate. I mean, what Look, one time I will address certain allegations made about me. After that, I'm not going to repeat myself. Anyone, anyone that wishes to, wishes to believe the opposite, what can I say? I'm not going. I am not going to lose any sleep over it. And I see here that it's not going to be too much activity tonight, so I'll probably be on, say, another 30 minutes. And of course, we all know that the circus is alive and unwell. I mean, look, if you spend any time in these YouTube streets, you're going to see that the same individuals of the collective are spending their time and their energies with the same rhetoric, with the same beefs that's been going on for 3, 4, and 5 years. You're going to see people. You're going to see individuals who are hurt. Trying to cast deflections and aspersions regarding certain individuals. And in my case, I'm have experienced that um, mainly because there's certain individuals that are bothered, they are triggered whenever you create positive content. Okay. Because again, hurt people hurt people. So when they come across an individuals that actually devote their time and energy creating positive content, or people that have things going on positive in their lives, it bothers the heck out of them, partly because of jealousy and partly because of envy. Now, in my case, look, I don't claim to be any any big content creator. I mean, I am just simply a person in my 60s who have worked for the same employer for over 25 years. I'm just someone that actually owned their place. And in a couple of years, I will retire and I will enjoy my retirement. Okay. I don't spend my time attacking content creators. I don't spend my time and energies going back and forth uh, with the collective. I don't go back and forth with the trolls. Okay. And my philosophy is this: if you're going to try to enter my platform, if you're going to try to create troll, you will be removed. Okay. Because I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to go back and forth. I am not going to engage with these individuals. That is what they want. They want people to argue with them because it makes them feel um, it's like a rush. It is like a drug for them. I mean, for them to argue, for them to go on back and forth. Okay, And let me tell you something. And again, huge shout out to Don Armando because he had reached over 1,000 subs. Okay. And that is a major achievement. Okay. Because it's not easy, to create content. It's not easy to try to come up with content with topics to discuss. Because actually what you have to do is you have to devote the time and energy, first of all, to think about topics that you would like to talk about. Also, you have to devote the time and energy uh, to do your research and then share your information. That's reality. But in the long run, you're better off actually devoting the time and the energy to do your research. Because first of all, at least you are coming across as someone that's reasonably intelligent. Okay. Now, there's certain content creators who love to create drama. They love to create friction. They love to to attack individuals. And if you want to devote your time and energies doing that, that's fine. The thing is, it's not going to happen here. And there's a few reasons why. First of all, that is not my way. Okay, I'm not going to give any trolls or any members of the circus the attention that they so crave because basically that's why they're doing it. They'll say or do anything to try to elicit a response. And like I said before, they are in essence attention seeking whores. Okay. And the most effective way to deal with such individuals is to ignore them. Let them speak what they want. Let them say what they want. And sooner or later, they will get to the realization that whatever you say or do is not creating any traction. Now, of course, what's the definition of lunacy or insanity? Is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Okay. It's like it's like you see a fire over a stove and you put your hand over the fire and you see you get yourself getting burned. And you do it again and you do it again. And you keep doing it because for some reason you have to believe, well, if I put my hand over the flame, it's not going to get burned. No, it's going to get burned. And if you're not careful, guess what? You can do damage to your skin and you can do damage to your fingers and arms and things like that. And of course, the next topic I'm going to be talking about is obsession. Now, we have seen it, particularly on Miss Elite Stream, and I guess to a certain extent, Femi's content, where their people are obsessed over Miss Elite. They're obsessed because they want to create some sort of attention, and they want access to her box. Now, I have not known Miss Elite for a long time. But one thing I do know, she is an intelligent person. She's a person with a moral compass, and she's not going to grant access to the box to any random dude. Okay, she is definitely not an informant. And this is the problem that certain individuals have. They get obsessed because they are denied access to someone's attention. They are denied access to someone's affection, and they get denied access to the box. And because an obsession, because that's all they think about. They think women are here just to satisfy their sexual lusts. And of course, I was taught to have a high amount of respect towards women, and not just some women, but all women, including those women who are not acting ladylike, who act like 304s, who act very promiscuous. Okay. I was taught, to have a certain amount of respect. And if I ever had sons, they'll be taught the same way. And another problem with obsession is that they remain focused on certain things that otherwise sane people will not focus on. And we have seen it where there's certain individuals where obsession, if left unchecked, can lead to individuals who perform insane acts and sometimes acts of violence regarding those individuals that they are fixated on, those individuals that they're obsessed over, and they think about them 24/7. Now, of course, some of these incels are all bark and all bite. And what do I mean by that? Well, of course, there's certain individuals that act very tough. They act very brave, particularly when they hide behind an avatar. Okay, because no one see who they are. No one knows them. No one's they create a false image. But we all know for a fact that if these people were to be met, in real life, they wouldn't be so brave. Okay, so that's why they are keyboard warriors. They will hide behind avatars, and they will say they're ish. Okay, they will say they're ish because guess what? For a fake avatar, they have a certain amount of anonymity. They're able to say what they want to say, and sometimes they try to portray themselves as something that they're not, that try to portray themselves as other content creators. We have seen it where people have taken on an image of another person and they try to portray themselves as that person for the purpose of trying to create dissension and trying to give the impression that certain individuals are doing, have said what they said, and those who are not sophisticated will not be able to understand that these are people hiding behind hate fake avatars trolling, which is why um, you can't always believe what you see. You can't always believe what you hear, which is all the more reason why when it comes to trolls, deny them access. Okay, you deny them access, therefore they cannot conduct their little shenanigans and things of that nature. Okay. And of course, I know when I did my stream regarding the trolls, certain individuals were triggered because apparently they come to the belief that I was addressing them, even though that was not the case. When it comes to like trolls, I just speak in general statements. I don't believe in specifically referring to individuals specifically, um, unless it's necessary, because I don't want to give these individuals shine, nor grant them the attention that they so crave. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is, of course, a huge shout out to my supporters, which are known as the uncommon folk, because they really have shown a great deal of love towards me. They have subscribed, no, continued to subscribe to my channel. They consider to consume my content, particularly when it comes to my shorts. Good evening, all hot grit and grind. Thank you very much for stopping by, sir. So tonight it's open discussion. So what I do is I just say what's on my mind regarding several topics, and of course, those who are in the chat or are in the clouds are more than welcome to opine regarding anything that I discuss. Also, if they have anything that they want me to discuss, I will share my point of view. Now, speaking about point of view, this I wasn't going to talk about this, but I figured I'll talk it anyway. Now, there's been a great deal of talk um, in Times Square regarding a 12-foot statue of a black woman. Okay, she does appear to be obese. Okay, and it appears to be dressing very casual like. And of course, it's stirred a lot of controversy because there are those who view this sculpture as putting black women in a negative light. And I'm going to give you my thoughts. To me, it's one physical representation. Now, obviously, not all women dress like that. Not all black women dress like that. And obviously, not all black women are are uh, have a are dealing with the battle of the bulge. Okay, you have black women who are professionals. You have black women who are excellent mothers. You have black women who are excellent spouses. You also have some black women who are excellent, who have done an amazing job raising their children alone as single parents. And of course, when it comes to single parents, you cannot paint everyone in the same brush, okay? Because there are many ways that a woman could, or a man could become a single parent. A woman can become a single parent because the husband or the father passes away. That's a reality. Also, there's another a reality that are women that become single mothers is because of abandonment by certain men, and some of them um, also deal with domestic violence. Some of them are the victims of abuse, and it could be physical abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, um, emotional abuse, and unfortunately, you have some black women who become single moms because they made poor choices in regarding who that they allow them to get them pregnant. Now, of course, not all of them are the same. Unfortunately, if you go into social media and what you see particularly on TikTok, it gives a representation where black women are too picky, too demanding, okay, not taking accountability for their actions, made poor choices when it comes to men. And again, let me make this perfectly clear. Not all black women are the same. Not all black women are three or fours or are dealing with baby daddy drama. Okay. Unfortunately, we're living in an age when there's a when there's a negative narrative that's being spread regarding black women. Now, a couple of years ago, I did develop a live regarding addressing the myths regarding black women. I'm going to address it at some point. Probably, if not this month, but definitely next month. And I also plan to do a live to address the myths regarding single mothers. Now, of course, we all heard social media was saying thing when men are discouraged from dating single mothers because of baby daddy trauma and things of that nature. And again, not all single mothers are the same. Look, and it's one thing if a single mother has one child and they decide, okay, they made a mistake, but going forward, they're gonna be more selective, things of that nature. And then you have some women who make the same mistake over and over again, and next thing you know it, they have several children by multiple baby daddies. And again, not all single mothers fall into the same category. In fact, what I'll probably do, um, and I have to figure out when to do this, I'm going to try to see if I can um, invite a single mother to my panel so we can address some of the myths that they have to deal with. And also, another thing is that single mothers are promiscuous. Okay, some are, others aren't. But I think that's something that I will discuss. I just need to do some research, and I also need to, to prepare um, to discuss this topic with a certain amount of intelligence. Now, again, a huge shout out to my supporters because when I started my journey as a content creator, I did not know what to expect. Okay, I mean, I had a couple of ideas. Okay. I developed my own niche. I also developed certain boundaries regarding what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. I also made my share mistakes along the way, but I have taken accountability and I have learned. Okay, but never did I think that I'll be enjoying this much success. Okay, so now my contact has my main channel has about close to 320,000 views. I'm at 622 subs. Okay. And some of my shorts, believe it or not, have been very successful. In fact, let me just take a look because there was a short that I did the other day. Okay, I was checking my email. Okay, actually, I did a short yesterday that actually gained 14,000 views. So it's like, whoa, that's a lot. That is a lot. So just give me a moment. What I'll do is I'll share it. Okay. Okay. Let me. Okay. Let's just check my notices. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to share. Just give me a moment. So I call this typical speed date. Okay, so let me just.
Where do you live?
In the city.
Do you have a house?
Apartment.
Own or rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Where do you live?
In the city.
Do you have a house?
Apartment.
Own or rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Where do you live?
Okay. So believe it or not, that 9 second short had actually gained 14,000 views. Now, normally with my shorts, if I get 1,000, that's a lot. The fact that I gotten 14,000, that's like whoa. But it's just one of the things that I've learned, that when you create shorts, and then not only that, there's a certain time in the day when you create it and you load it, and you're able to, to hit that sweet spot, which is a time of day where people are going to be watching it, and it's going to create a lot of attention. And the fact of the matter is that little short has gotten 14,000 views. Now, it is not as much as one view when it got close to 25,000. But the fact that people enjoy my content means a great deal to me. Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is what I call deny access to the box. Now, what happens is that you have certain individuals, certain men, that hold the belief that women are here for one purpose and one purpose only: to satisfy their sexual gratification. Because unfortunately, there's some people that are obsessed about that. So, being that they have that mindset, when they see someone of the opposite sex, particularly someone of the opposite sex that is beautiful on the outside, shapely, curvy, things of that nature, their hormones start to get into overdrive, and they think they're fantasizing about them sleeping with these women. And sometimes they get very crude in their interaction with these women. Okay. And then they get upset when the women reject their advances and basically tell these individuals to get lost. Then what happens is their ego get crushed, their egos get bruised, and then next thing you know it, these women are lesbians, these women are 3 or 4s, these women are everything but daughters of God. Why? Because they could not deal with rejection. Now, your typical male, what they would do is when they see someone of the opposite sex, they're going to shoot their shot. Okay. If they find that a female is not interested in them, they will just like, you know what? They will not bother them, and they'll go to the next female until they find someone that will will give them the time of day. A typical, okay, a male with a reasonable amount of intelligence will do that. However, when it comes to incels who think of nothing about gratifying their own sexual carnal urges, when their affection, for lack of another term, gets rejected, they get upset, they get annoyed, their egos are bruised, and next thing you know, they're calling these women everything but a child of God. And all because they deny access to the box. Now I know of course, I know that I am in my 60s, and of course, I my way of thinking is quite different from many males. But I'll say this: when I meet a a member of the opposite sex for the first time, my objective is not to gain access to the box. My objective is to try to get to know her. Hopefully, there will be a mutual attraction. Okay, hopefully there will be mutual interest. If the person that I'm pursuing does not reciprocate, okay, I'm just gonna say, you know what? We're not a good fit, and go on to the next female. Or even better, what they will do is that they will sit down and they will self-reflect and see where are they missing the mark when it comes to the opposite sex. Maybe it's the way they express themselves, maybe it's their approach, or it could be simply that these women are not into you, and that's fine. Okay, if not every okay, look, one thing we have to understand: not everyone is someone's cup of tea, and this is particularly true when it comes to the opposite sex. So there's two more things which I'm going to discuss, and then I'll probably call this a night because it's one of those nights where no one is entering any comments in the chat. No one's uh, catching a live, so maybe they're out. I don't know. But I will say this: anyone that is considering becoming a content creator, whether it be here on YouTube, whether it be in X, whether it be in Facebook, Instagram, or any other platform. Now, first of all, you're going to have a thick skin to deal with the criticism, to deal with the circus, to deal with the trolls. If you do not have thick skin, do not even think about getting into a content creator, creating content on social media. Another thing, be true to yourself. Do not try to do something because someone tells you to. Really think about what you're going to do. and make sure that you set some boundaries. Okay. Well, you know what? It's okay. I get it. Don't feel. Look, people would just watch this in a playback. That's all. Because I'm just getting ready to wrap this up. But I am going to have some interesting topics for next week. Monday, I will be talking about obsession, which that's something that some of these um, individuals are dealing with. And of course, on Tuesday, I will be talking about deliverance, a Christian concept. So um, Georgia, you were able to attend. If not, I get it. People are busy. Okay. And another thing, people have got to understand that there'll be times where you're going to have a lot of activity in your chat and you're going to have a lot of people in the panel. And there's going to be times when it's going to be yourself. So you best be prepared. That's what I try to do. Hopefully look forward to other people will join the panel or the chat. But in the event that that doesn't happen, I have enough material where I can at least have a conversation for at least an hour. And that's something I have to learn because I'm not necessarily the type of person with the gift of gab. It's something that I have to develop. So now I'm at the stage where I can do a monologue and I can discuss topics with a reasonable amount of intelligence. And of course, I've seen content creators come and go. I also seen content creators who basically given up. But in all reality, look, it is time consuming to create content. First of all, you need to think about what you're going to discuss. Then you have to do the research, and then you need to present your wisdom, your knowledge, and things of that nature. Also, you have to learn to set boundaries regarding what's acceptable and what not acceptable, and be willing to enforce those boundaries. Okay. Because first of all, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your supporters. Because contrary to what some people believe, no one is going to support a content creator who don't have their stuff in order. Okay? Most people are intelligent and they know when they see a content creator who's not prepared, who just basically going on fumes. And of course, I, for the most part, try to keep my lives no more than 2 hours because, contrary to what some of these incels think, people have lives, people have responsibilities, okay? And basically, everything that has to be said could be said in 2 hours or less. Now, sometimes if there's like a lot of activity in the panel, it can go on for 3 or maybe 4 hours. But if I'm just going to simply blab, blather and talk and not be coherent, I'm going to drive people away. And I do take pride in what I do, in everything I do, because it's a reflection of me. And that's something that content creators, particularly those are into the trauma and into the wretchedness, that they don't understand, because it is a reflection of who they are. So obviously, I'm going to try to make sure that when people see my content, it's a high quality and at least something that is well put together. So in any case, I'm gonna start to wrap this up. And of course, those of you who catch it on the playback, you're more than welcome to share your comments. Just be mindful, anything that is disrespectful is going to be deleted. It is that simple. And of course, um, you have the weekend. Um, make the most of it. If you have to do your chores, do your chores. But devote some time for yourself to enjoy life. So, and of course, I'm going to close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Wishing you good night. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care and peace.